Greenbush? I repeated to the man behind the counter. It's a town not far from here. He shook his head. Never heard of it. I grew up there. The first 15 years of my life was in that town, I said, sighing. I thanked him and walked back to my car. It had been more than 25 years since I'd been down this way. They added a new highway and road system, and I had no idea the new way to get into town. I sat in my car again and looked at the GPS. Every time I typed in Greenbush, Massachusetts, it had no hits. I drove over to the grocery store across the street and picked up a water. I also asked the young kid at the register if he'd ever heard of the town, and he didn't know anything either. Defeated, I went back to my car. We were in the next town over. How in the heck had nobody heard of it? I got back on the road and drove to where my memory said the town should be, but as I entered town, the sign said, "Welcome to Halford." I pulled over again. How can this be? I know I'm right. I lived here for years. I went to school here. Had friends here. How can it just be gone? I started to panic. Up ahead there was a small crowd of school-age kids, so I got out of the car and went up and asked them the same thing. Do you know where Greenbush is? No. Have you ever heard of Greenbush? They looked at each other and shook their heads no. They started to back away. I felt trapped, even more panicked than I had before. I must have looked crazy because they started to cry for help. I ran, not knowing what else to do. I came across a street that looked kind of familiar. That store in the distance. I know that store. Yes, it's still yellow. It still looks the same. I ran up to it. Greenbush Market. I'd spent a lot of time there. I even worked there my last summer before we moved. I made my way around the parking lot and stopped. The sign in front of the store read, Halford Market. I fell to my knees and sobbed. A police officer ran up to me, alerted by the kids that had been acting strange. All I could do was scream, "No, no, no," over and over as he pulled me back to his cruiser. A crowd had formed in the parking lot, including the kids I talked to. "What's this all about?" one of the older people in the crowd asked. "I don't know," said one of the kids. He was babbling about some town called Greenbush. "Greenbush," the old man piped in. "That's what they used to call Halford before they changed the name."